So, I'm here today with part 3 of my series on being an ethical consumer and how that ties into our business. And today I'm going to talk about the thing that started everything off, which is big tech and AI. And tomorrow I'm going to be talking about, amongst other things, how to meet other people who are interested in being ethical consumers and who can help you with information, maybe be part of a little network. And I'm lucky enough to know another author actually who's also a tech expert, and he and I are good friends, and he has a lot of knowledge about ethical tech because he has the tech knowledge to understand exactly what's going on, and he's a very ethical person, and so that, and again, ethical consumer, which is good for recommending things like email services, mobile services, that kind of thing, have influenced the choices that we use both as private individuals and in the business. As I've said, we do use Google for the business. Our product catalogue is on there. It has to be, really, for us to survive. But we don't use Google as a search engine. We use DuckDuckGo, which is an alternative that doesn't track you. I think it does use some of Bing's search bots as well as its own, but yeah, it is considered to be kind of the best one because it's not tracking you and storing information on you the same way. And Google is quite heavily censored. They do take money from people to influence how they skew things, and hopefully DuckDuckGo is better for that as well. I don't use WhatsApp myself. We do use Meta, we use Facebook and Instagram again just for the business. But if you want to use an alternative to WhatsApp that's not tracking you, I mean, WhatsApp is encrypting your messages, but it is tracking you. And advertising, you can use Signal. Signal is works very much like WhatsApp, but it's not tracking you at all. If anyone holds a gun to Signal's head asking for information on you and what you've done, they won't have anything to give it. And I think it was the one that was used by the US security services in that famous incident recently when they messaged secure stuff to a journalist. Obviously, if you send a message through Signal to someone who shouldn't be getting the information, it's not that secure, but otherwise it is very secure and they're not tracking you. So that's my recommendation for that. The email we use at a company called Runbox, I think they're in Norway. They were an ethical consumer Best Buy, and we use them for business and private email, and I found them to be very, very good. So I recommend them. Ethical Consumer have other Best Buys as well. For social media, that's a bit more difficult. Obviously, there's a lot of problems around social media now. It started off as a really kind of positive thing, and you kind of feel you still need to be on there, you still need to be reaching people. Different people on different platforms, they've all got their problems, but there is a thing called the Fediverse. I'm not much involved with it yet, but I'm going to try and get more involved with it. It's a really interesting, different kind of social media. It uses different servers, so things can't be controlled or brought down or interfered with to the same degree as the big platforms. You know, we saw that Amazon outage recently where, you know, one company has too much. If it goes down, everything goes down. So yeah, I think the Fediverse is worth exploring. I know my friend, I was saying, he uses it, something I want to get into, so I recommend you have a look at that. As regards AI, I think AI is a really unethical thing. I don't really believe in AI, artificial intelligence. I think computers are doing what computers have always done. They're doing a lot quicker, a lot more powerfully, and yeah, they're doing it a lot better than they used to, but they're still just processing data. That's what they do. And to facilitate them doing it to such a degree with such power and speed that it looks like intelligence, we're using vast resources of power and water. These things generate loads and loads of heat, and they need a lot of water to cool them down. And I know actually here in England, the government is very, very much in favour of AI, and they're going to build these big data centres. Some of them in parts of the country that are already short of water because we have these terrible privatised water companies who suck all the money out and don't do anything. So we live on this really wet island now where half the time there's no clean water to drink, and you can't swim in the sea or a river because they're full of sewage. If you're outside England, you didn't know that. I thought I'd just tell you. But now we're going to have these data centres sucking out even more of this water. And it's going to drain some beautiful ecological sites and destroy them. It's going to interfere with water supply for people in a lot of parts of the country. And it's just a really stupid thing to be doing. And I don't think it's ethical in terms of humanity either. We should be thinking for ourselves. Thinking for ourselves is a good thing for human beings to do. Creating for ourselves. I think AI takes advantage of a lot of the fact that so many people are kept stressed and busy and short of money, and that the big corporations and the powers that be are doing that on purpose. They like having you there where you're vulnerable to them, telling you what to do, getting you to buy stuff. They like it. And AI is great. Then you're tired, you're stressed, you don't have time or energy to think for yourself, and you turn to AI because that's where you are. And I'm not blaming anyone for using that. And I'm not actually saying it doesn't have some functions either. I'll come to that in a moment. But I think that this blanket use of it, and certainly the use of it for creative projects, for medicine, for God's sake, but there's nothing ethical about that, about things that involve human emotions, human creativity, human thought, human originality, human love and care. Computers should not be involved. So I don't think AI is an ethical thing at all. I'm not saying that it doesn't have any roles. I actually use AI for the captions on these films, for example. That's a really good thing that it can do. It can even understand my accent now, which it hadn't used to be able to do, although it never gets my name right. But I'd still go through them and correct any errors, make sure they're okay. AI it's good for writing code. It's good for doing the kind of things that computers are good at doing. It's not good at writing novels. AI doesn't write novels. AI trawls a lot of people's novels, vast quantities of people's novels, and cobbles something together that's made up of bits of those. That's what it does. So I really think AI is not an ethical choice, and if I'm using a search engine that has an AI search assist, I turn it off. I turn AI off everywhere. I stop it trawling things wherever I can, and that's not just for your sanity and to stop it stealing your data and stealing your thoughts, because it's a bad thing for humanity, and it's a bad thing for the planet and the environment, sucking up all that power and water. So think again on AI. If you can, if you have to use it, you have to use it. Again, back to part one, the most important thing is don't feel guilty. Don't beat yourself up. You're doing the best you can. You're making an effort. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you use AI. I'm saying I don't think AI is a good thing, but you're doing the best you can, and that's absolutely great. We don't use AI in the business at all, apart from the captions on here, and obviously some of the services that we're linked to, they use AI. I'm not even letting them trawl the website at present. I might have to change that if search engines go the way that they're all AI, which they may well do. And there's actually an interesting book out on that subject called Enshittification, which about how AI is kind of eating itself, because the more AI dominates the search results in search engines, the fewer real articles there will be on those subjects, because they rely on advertising and clicks to keep going, and revenue. They're not getting it because AI is taking those clicks. So there are fewer and fewer real results. So soon AI will kind of eventually just be reading itself and churning around in some big circle of rubbish, really. And that's what this book is about, that and how the big platforms like Facebook and Amazon have destroyed themselves through greed and control. There are alternatives for some big tech things out there. Feel free to investigate. I'll put all the things I've talked about in the notes to this video. See you next time.